3631 Tactical. Just want to do a quick video on night sights on your defensive pistols. You can see in the background here, I'm in the basement in my little reloading area, and it's dark. I only got one light on, and I'm going to shut that light off here in a minute to kind of show you a few demonstrations between night sights and non-night sights on defensive pistols. What I got for that is I got two Glocks. I got a Glock 19 Gen 5 and a Glock 19 Gen 4. This is a competition gun. I use this for IDPA competition in the concealed carry division, and the sights that I have on here are some Warren Tacticals. It's a fiber optic sight. And on this Gen 5, this is something that I carry just kind of for self-defense, I guess. And the sights on here are the Tragicon HD XR night sights. And we're going to talk about whether or not you should have night sights on your defensive pistols. Now remember, when I'm talking about night sights, I'm talking about on defensive guns. If you're a CPO holder and you carry a gun for self-defense, if you're just a homeowner who has a gun in your house to defend yourself from the bad guy that breaks in at 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe you're a law enforcement officer, anybody that's potentially going to use a pistol for self-defense in a dark environment. That's the type of guns I'm talking about. Not competition, not the gun that you have just to go out and shoot pop cans or whatever. I'm talking about the gun that you're going to use to defend yourself. All right, so before I tell you what I think, real quick, let me just show you these two sights side by side. So I'm going to kind of sit off to the side here so I'm not pointing a gun at myself. The gun on this side is the competition fiber optic sight. The other one is the night sight. So just take a good look at that best you can. And let me shut the lights off and show you the same thing. And there. You can see the night sights and the non-night sights. So now you kind of know what you're looking at if you've never seen night sights before. You see how they glow in the dark, basically. Now, do you really need this for a defensive purpose? Do you really need sights? I used to think you needed night sights, and I have a couple guns that I have the same Tragicon HD night sights on. I have a Glock 26 that I have those sights on, and I think I had another gun that has those sights too. I used to be a believer that, yeah, you need night sights, right? Low light, you need to be able to see that sight. The thing that changed my mind was, I think it's 3 years ago now, I went to the Smith & Wesson Bug Match Nationals. It's in, what is it, up there in Massachusetts somewhere. It's an indoor competition, so a lot of the stages are low light or even no light. So you got to use a flashlight for a lot of that stuff. And on the very first stage, I'll be honest, I went there and thinking, yeah, I'm pretty good. I think I might do good at this match. And the very first stage, my little Glock 26, I got my night sights on there, and after firing 1 or 2 shots, the muzzle flash was enough that I mean, I wasn't like blind, but I couldn't see the sights anymore. Most of the targets, I was pretty much point shooting them. I was looking at the target and doing my best, but I couldn't see the sights after that first couple shots in the dark, and you pretty much lose your night vision. So night sights or no night sights, I couldn't see them after the first couple shots. And that's kind of my belief, is if you're in a really dark environment, or even partially dark environment, you're probably not going to see them after the first couple muzzle flashes. You're not going to see that sight anymore. So in that first stage of that competition, I was horrible. I had like 35 points down or something. I go, oh, well, there goes this match. You know, I thought I did really bad. I ended up not doing as bad as I thought I was going to do. But that first stage was a big eye-opener, because up at that point, I had never really shot in the dark. Not like that. Not for speed and accuracy and shooting at moving targets and that kind of stuff. And the night sights just really didn't help me out the way people lead you to believe that they will help you. I think a lot more important than night sights, what you need is a good handheld light source. Or even if you have a weapon mounted light, a light that's attached to your gun, because you have to be able to see, you have to be able to identify threats. You can't just go in there with, okay, your sights are bright, that's great, but can you identify a bad guy? Can you identify whether somebody's is a bad guy or not? There's a story out of Virginia, it was in Virginia or West Virginia a couple years ago, where a sheriff's deputy's daughter like snuck out of the house to be, you know, she's a teenager doing what teenagers do. When she snuck back in the house, he heard her breaking in, not knowing that this was his daughter, thinking it was a bad guy. He takes his gun and he starts shooting at this shadowy figure in the dark and ends up hitting her. I believe she lived, but he grabbed her, threw her in the car, tried to haul ass to the hospital, cracked up, got in an accident on the way to the hospital. Big mess. You don't want to do that. You need to be able to identify your threat, and this is going to help you identify your threat. Those night sights aren't going to help you identify anything. They're going to help you identify maybe where your sights are for the first shot, maybe two, and then with the muzzle flash, you're probably not going to be able to see any of that because your night vision is not going to be good enough to pick up on that tiny little sight going back and forth at 100 miles an hour with all that muzzle flash. It's not going to happen. All right, in just a second, I'm going to set up a little demo with the target, and I'm going to shut the lights off and show you a couple things. But before that, real quick, I went to a class I might have been last year now, and it was all about shooting in the dark with either handheld lights or weapon mounted lights. And the instructor kind of pumped up this qualification course that they had like it was just so hard. Nobody, you really got to be good to pass this course or whatever, or this qualification. And I shot 98%, and I had 24 out of 25 X rings. The only X ring that I missed, instead of there's this little X box on their targets, I hit bad guy in the cheek because I was just to be honest, it was kind of easy, and I was just going way faster than I should have, trying to make it a challenge, and I shanked the shot a little bit. Instead of hitting him in the X ring, I kind of hit him off to the cheek area a little bit. But in that class, I had a Glock 17, completely stock, no trigger job, nothing like that, completely stock gun. But I had these Warren Tactical fiber optic sights on there, no night sights. Everybody else in the class had night sights. I was the only one without night sights, and I shot the highest score, and I was only one shot away from shooting the thing perfect with 25 X-ring hits. So I really don't think you need night sights. I think just from my experience in that class, I pretty much proved that I can shoot just as good, probably better than most people without them. I don't think you get much benefit from them. And let me set up a demo real quick and show you a couple things so you can kind of see it through my eyes. All right, so I got an IDPA style target here. I'm gonna go ahead and set this up here on the table, and I'm gonna shut the light off. And I'm gonna show you a couple things I'm gonna point the gun with the night sights at the target, gun without the night sights. We're gonna do some stuff with the handheld light and show you just a couple different options, a couple different variations, and see what really matters and what really doesn't. All right, so real quick, I'll just this is the gun with the night sights. I'll point it at the target. You really can't even tell there's night sights when you have a light like this, right? Now I'm gonna go up and I'm gonna shut the light off, and I'll point the gun again with the night sights and tell me what you can see or what you can't see. Right, so I can clearly see my night sights, right? But I can't see bad guy. I can't tell if he's a bad guy, if he's got a weapon. I don't know what's going on. I can see my sights, but I can't see anything else. All right, now I'm doing this with a cell phone camera, so bear with me. But I'm going to turn this handheld flashlight on. I'm going to hold the gun and the flashlight in the same hand. And then we're going to point this at bad guy, just to kind of get an idea of what this would be like here. So, all right, I'm backing up here. I'm pointing the gun at bad guy. The night sights you can see kind of really don't come into play, but I can clearly see the silhouette of the sights. Like I could, if I needed to use the sights, I know I'm really close, but this is just kind of the best demo I can do right here. I can clearly see the outline of those sights if I needed to use them, even though that you really can't see the night sights glowing. Let's do this real quick. Let's put this gun down. Let's pick up the competition gun with the fiber optic sights and do the same thing. Let me see here. Let me get a good grip on it. Back up. So again, this is not night sights. This is just the fiber optic. And you can see it almost looks exactly the same. I can see the silhouette of my sights, my rear sight, my front sight, but there's nothing glowing, right? I mean, what honestly is the difference between the night sights and the non-night sights when I'm using a light source, like a handheld light or even like a weapon mounted light? What is the real difference? So a lot of people think that it's important to have these sights that glow in the dark because I think, the majority of things like robberies and carjackings and people breaking into your house happens in low light conditions when it's dark, it's the middle of the night, and you need to be able to see that sight. So you need these night sights, these sights that are glowing so that you can see them and hit your target. And that's what a lot of people say, that's what a lot of people push. I don't think so. All right, so hopefully that little demonstration showed you something. I think if you have a handheld light or you have a weapon mounted light, it really doesn't matter whether you have night sights or not. You're going to kind of see the same thing. You're going to see that same silhouette of the sights. And the fact that night sights glow, that's great. But like I said, after your first shot or two with the muzzle flash, you're going to lose enough, at least I did. I lost enough night vision or low light vision that it didn't matter. I couldn't see them anyway. One thing I will say about these Trijicon HD night sights, trying to get in there, if you can see that sight is a really bright orange. There's a couple different colors it comes in. I like the orange, but it's really a bright orange colored sight. So when you're dealing with like a daylight time frame where it's bright outside, like you still can see that sight really good. I've had some night sights that were white and it just really got washed out in the daylight for me. But that really bright orange, really, it's almost like a fiber optic. Not quite as bright, but it's almost like a fiber optic, and that my eyes really are drawn to that orange sight when it's even when it's really bright outside. So I really do like these sights for daylight applications. The night sights, though, I just found through shooting in the dark that it just doesn't really work. You get a couple shots off, the muzzle flash just robs you of your night vision, and then that sight, whether it's lighter or not, you just can't see. So I guess the moral of the story is, if you're going to carry a gun for defensive purposes, if you're going to have a gun in your house for defensive purposes, if you're a law enforcement officer, make sure you have a handheld light source or have a weapon mounted light. If you have a weapon mounted light, make sure you have a handheld light source in case that light goes out. Remember, 2 is 1 and 1 is none. Always be prepared for the worst. So those are my thoughts on night sights on defensive pistols. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Tell me what you think. Also remember, go to the description box. You can click on the link to our t-shirt store. We got t-shirts, coffee mugs, pretty cool designs. Check them out. Thanks for watching. If you like this channel, make sure you subscribe and like the videos